So some breaking news from The Guardian. Hillsong founder Brian Houston charged with drink driving in the U.S. I'm going to go back to this article, but not even a year ago, Brian Houston resigned after, quote, an internal investigation found he behaved inappropriately towards two women. And this had to do with alcohol as well. The board said an investigation found Mr. Houston became disoriented following the consumption of anti-anxiety medication beyond the prescribed dose mixed with alcohol.
Brian, Alison from Channel 9, we just wanted to find out, have you got anything to say about the charges?
No. What's that, sorry?
Have you got anything to say about the charges?
Oh, obviously I'm devastated. Thanks.
Are you planning to return to Australia soon? How did you manage to get a travel exemption to leave the country?
Brian Houston appearing rattled, but it was still business as usual.
Come on, let's give a big James River welcome to Brian Houston in the house.
Sunday service in Springfield, Missouri.
How good it is to be at James River Church.
It was his first public appearance since being charged with concealing child sexual abuse carried out by his father in the 1970s, allegations he strongly denies.
There's challenges in life. It can take its toll. But I want to be filled with zeal. I still want to have a Pentecostal two-step when I'm 112. Amen.
On a mission from God, spreading the word through Middle America, it follows his recent trips to Mexico and Los Angeles. New South Wales Police Minister David Elliott revealing the pastor had left the country during the pandemic previously, upon return requesting a 5-star suite.
Brian and Bobby Houston have based themselves here in the United States for several months now, but it remains unclear exactly when they'll head back to Australia for his day in court.
Bobby was nowhere to be seen on the Missouri leg of their trip, his son Joel by his side at a high-end rooftop bar. In Missouri, Alison Petrowski, 9 News.
With alcohol. The investigation did not uphold all parts of the complaint, but important elements of the complaint were sustained and the conduct was of serious concern. So they said ultimately the board found that Brian had breached Hillsong's pastor's code of conduct. The church apologized unreservedly to both women, said Mr. Houston had paid compensation or refunds to them from his own pocket. So he just stepped down like not even a year ago. So now back to the article that just happened 11 hours ago, Tuesday, March 28th, 2023. Brian Houston, a former leader of global Pentecostal megachurch Hillsong, has been charged with driving under the influence of alcohol in the U.S. Houston was charged in Orange County, California in February last year after recording a blood alcohol reading of 0.08, according to the court records obtained by Daily Telegraph. So that was February of last year. Houston posted a statement on his personal Instagram account on Wednesday acknowledging the incident and calling the decision to drive under influence foolish. I made the foolish decision to drive just 2 or 3, 100 meters or yards to park the car, and I'm grateful to God that no damage or injury occurred, he wrote. At the time, it seemed like all hell had broken loose within Hillsong Church, and I, and this is a quote from him, was under immense pressure and emotional strain. Clearly, that is not an excuse, and I take full responsibility for my actions. 13 months have passed since that incident occurred, and I am now in a much stronger place within my spirit and soul. A statement from Hillsong said that the church had recently been made aware of Houston's charges. So this happened a year ago, but now they're just learning about this. The global board and leadership of Hillsong Church did not become aware that Pastor Brian Houston had been charged in the USA for driving under influence until after he had resigned as pastor of Hillsong, a statement from the church said. So like I said, they're just finding out about this now. As he was no longer on staff, this was a personal matter for Pastor Brian to deal with. As always, we continue to keep the Houston family in our prayers. Houston stepped down, as I said. This article confirms, as Hillsong leader last year. Since then, the church has faced allegations of financial misconduct from the Australian Independent MP Andrew Wilkie. Wilkie used parliamentary privilege to accuse Houston of treating private jets like Ubers, claiming he spent $179,000 in church money over a 3-month period on air travel. Wrapping up, Houston is also fighting accusations he concealed his late father's child sexual abuse and has pleaded not guilty to a charge of concealing the crime until his father's death in 2004. The case remains before the courts, with hearings to resume in June. A legal representative for Houston has been contacted for a comment. So this is just coming out now through The Guardian.